Hi, it's been a long time since I've done a weekly wrap up, and this isn't really a weekly wrap up because the books I'm about to talk about are not books that I have recently read in recent weeks. These are books that I've read weeks ago now, but they're still worth mentioning, so that's why I'm filming this video. So, the first book that I want to recommend you guys to kind of check out is this one called Love Under Contract by Cassie Cantor. And now, this one was an interesting one. I did not expect this one to be as angsty as it was, or as steamy as it was, or just as fun as it was. So it involves a fake dating trope. Our heroine is a career-driven woman. She is climbing up the ranks in her law firm and she is going to be partner one day, and she can taste it. But the one thing that she is kind of missing is a solid relationship and a strong relationship. So she decides to hire our hero to be her fake boyfriend for like the Christmas vacation and also like all the events and parties and things that she has to do when she is a career woman and she has to put her best foot forward. Our hero is kind of the opposite of her. Our hero is a contractor. He's blue collar. He's more so of like the hands-on type of person. So they are in two different worlds. They are opposites attract, but they find that their chemistry is just off the charts and they can't keep their hands off of each other. And soon they get to know and learn more about each other and kind of fall in love with each other. And no matter how quirky and crazy they are. So it was just like a really fun read, and I really enjoyed the moments, especially where our heroine was kind of like understanding that her life does not always need to be as fast paced as it is for her to feel accomplished and to make her feel that she is like the number one boss in the world. She can take things slower. And another thing that I really liked about this book is that usually with female heroines who are very career driven and who want to climb to the top, they usually write the stories where they kind of like take a step back and then just not pursue their career anymore or not pursue their dreams anymore. And this was definitely not that. I really appreciated how Cassie Cantor wrote this book where our heroine was logical and that she made the right decisions for herself in the end in terms of her career and her life, and not just having to give up one thing over the other. So this was a great read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely would recommend you to check it out. So the next book that I did read was this one from Terry Wilson, and I must say that I'm really intrigued by Terry's works now after reading 2 of her books that I'm about to talk about. This one's called Once Upon a Royal Christmas. I love royal romances. I love it when it has to deal with like small countries and royal families and princes falling in love or princesses falling in love. It's fantastic to me. So our hero has been kind of just like in the media for things that he shouldn't be in the media for. He has a bad reputation. So he's just trying to save his reputation while also protecting the reputation of his royal family. So he's keeping himself a lot guarded now because some people in the past have hurt him. And so he is not very welcoming to strangers entering into his country and trying to pretend to be like princesses for holiday cheer during around the Christmas time. And one of the females that he bumps into is this gorgeous girl. She's kind of just like really down to earth, and he mistakes her as like the princess of this other country that he's supposed to be betrothed to. And then it's only until he realizes that this girl is a commoner, and not just a commoner, but she's American, and she is actually one of the actresses pretending to be a certain type of like princess character for the Christmas holiday celebrations in his home country. So they kind of have this like rough enemies to lovers patch in the beginning, and then the longer that they work together, they soon realize that they are perfect for each other. And it was such a great read. It was angsty at times, it was thrilling at times, it was just magical at times watching him fall in love with her, and also for him to gain more confidence in himself and to kind of be more understanding of what he wants in the royal family too as well. So it was just overall a great, fantastic read. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars too as well. So another book that I want to talk about that I read recently is actually a novella. This one's called Christmas with Saint by J. Sterling. Now, I've never read a J. Sterling novel before, but I've read a lot of her novellas because they were available in my public library via audiobook. So I've just been listening to them, and I think I'm going to pick up some J. Sterling books soon because they are just so romantic and they're are just so cute and fluffy. So Christmas the Saint is obviously another Christmas novel. As long as there's snow outside, I'm gonna read Christmas books. But once the snow like is melted, then I'll stop. But Christmas with Saint involves another one of my favorite tropes. It involves our heroine falling in love with her older brother's best friend, and her thinking this like entire time that he is not interested in her at all, and that has just been wasting all this time pining after him. But in reality, he's in love with her and he wants to be with her, but then he's also really worried that he's going to damage the relationship and the friendship that he has with the older brother. And this one kind of took like a weird turn towards the end, I must admit. It was just not what I thought it would be, but it had nothing to do with our main character's faults. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. But if I were to like really take a step back and just evaluate like the whole book for as it is, I would probably like give this like a 2 out of 5 stars, because I just really hated the side characters that made it so much more difficult for our two characters to be together. And if you read this book, you'll know what I mean. But if you read this book and you enjoy it, it's mostly because the relationship between our hero and heroine is just so strong and so perfect. So the next book that I want to talk about is this one called Once Upon a Royal Summer from Terry Wilson. And now this one is a really fun one too as well. I feel like Terry writes characters that are just so pure-hearted. They're perfect. They're sweet, they're nice, they're caring, they're loving, they're forgiving, they're everything that I obviously want to be as a person, because I feel like those are really great attributes as like a person would want to be. And so this one involves our heroine, who is a theme park princess once again. She works in like the theme parks like Disneyland or Disney World, where she pretends to be a princess. And one day she has this like really special guest, and the special guest just so happens to be this young princess from a very small country, and her grumpy single father. And her grumpy single father just wants to see his daughter smile again, because it's been a long time. The daughter has been kind of like hauled up in the castle and the kingdom, learning the proper etiquettes of how to behave in public, and she doesn't have a childhood anymore. So the king, our hero, decides to take her to America, to these amusement parks, so that she can be a child for once. And that's where they both meet our heroine, the princess, and they spend a lot of quality time together. And he finds himself gravitating towards her all the time. And even though he doesn't trust her because she is American, because she is a commoner, because he's been hurt in the past before by strangers and by relatives, he starts to begrudgingly realize that she is someone that is very important in his life, and that he wants to give the opportunity and chance on, because this is like his chance of finding happiness, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to keep her in his life, no matter about like the royal customs, or like no matter if like other people kind of discourage it. And it was so romantic, it was so cute, it was so sweet seeing these people kind of like fall in love and have this like beautiful family. And it was just great. I loved it so much. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. And then I think the last book that I want to talk about is this book that I read for my historical romance book club. If you guys didn't know, I host a historical romance book club with Rachel from Rachel Read and Sings. It's called the Blushing Blue Stocking Society. We meet once a month and we pick out a historical romance. And the one read that we read in February was this one called The Duke Gets Even by Joanna Shupe. And this one was really funny to me because I was really nervous walking into this book. Joanna Shupe and I, we kind of have mixed feelings. Like, I have mixed feelings. Really, she has no opinion of me because she doesn't even know I exist. But I have mixed feelings towards her sometimes. Like, her books are a hit or miss for me. This one was a hit for me. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one, actually. So this is part 4 in her The Fifth Avenue Rebel series. So this one basically involves our heroine, who is arranged to be in a marriage, and she does not want to be married to this person whatsoever because he is not right for her. She's not in love with him and she thinks he's gross. So she wants to ruin her reputation, therefore ruining the engagement. So she turns to the help of our hero, who is the opposite of her, who is really like straightforward, who's uptight, and he is like just not willing to give in as easily as he should. But what he desperately needs is a wealthy bride, and she can offer him the wealth. So they decide to kind of have this like fake engagement, this fake rendezvous situation, and obviously they both fall in love. But he's always kind of keeping his distance from her because he has a secret of his own. He thinks that she deserves someone a lot better than him because of his personal ailments, and it was just like a wonderful take on more complexities in relationships, because we're not dealing with two healthy individuals anymore. We're dealing with someone that could potentially have a shorter lifespan, and the repercussions of kind of like entering a relationship that could possibly have an end date and something like that. So it was definitely different. It was raw, it was real, it was entertaining, and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. But basically that is it for all the books I have read recently that are worth noting, that are all hits that you should add to your TBR. Let me know which ones are you excited for, or which one were your hits in the most recent weeks, so that I can add to my TBR. And I'll talk to you guys again later in a new video. Bye.